currently right now, he had his, what do you call it? He got his pardon, right? He got the stamp pardon. Hunter Biden got the signature pardon from Daddy, but he got the auto pen pardon, right? Let's just say the investigation comes out and it's been removed. He's not pardoned. He was at Dick Cheney's funeral the other day, sitting right next to Rachel Maddow, a funeral he would have never been to if Trump was never the president, because these guys hated Dick Cheney. So for them to go, the only reason they went to Dick Cheney's funeral is because their daughter hates Trump. So it's kind of like they have a mutual enemy, right? So he's at the funeral. But let's just say the auto pen comes back. He's been very low-key, very quiet. He's no longer the sexiest man on earth, according to Guardian. He's been kind of like the most hidden man on earth right now. You can't find him. But say if it's removed, and then you can investigate him. Would you support Fauci being investigated to find out his involvement in COVID with 20 million people dying around the world?
Absolutely.
You would support it?
Yeah. Now, just so you know, he gave a Grand Rounds distinguished lecture at Johns Hopkins, where I was before I came to the FDA, I think a couple weeks before I took office. And he got a standing ovation, and they're praising him and fawning over him.
What year was this?
This was 9 months ago.
Oh, wow.
This is just before I took office at the FDA.
In 25.
Yeah, and he's given distinguished lectures all over the place, and the audiences are clapping like seals, and there's this groupthink in medicine, and it's again affirming news out there, and Trump derangement syndrome, and he made a bunch of mistakes. Okay, people are human, but then when Biden took office, he elevated him to be the chief medical advisor. And elevating a guy with that many errors, when you get that many things wrong in a short period of time, and then to me, that was a major turn of events.
Yeah. So I guess it's going to be a two-step process. One, they have to get to the bottom of the auto pen. If they don't, nothing can happen. If they do, then it can be opened up. And, some tells me RFK Jr., he would probably want to get to the bottom of it. I know Rand Paul, I know a lot of other people want to get to the bottom of it to see what would happen there. Because, again, you sit here, you're like, well, what's the big deal? Let's just move on.
Yeah.
That is the most annoying thing for people to hear. Let's just move on. We investigated Watergate and nobody got killed. It was like the end of the world. Watergate. We investigated 9/11 was only 20 months. This kind of gives me the vibes of 9/11. Let's just kind of move quickly on and not look back. We investigated a lot of these things for a long time. World War I killed 15 to 17 million people. This thing killed 20 million people. And there is not a trilateral, investigation to see who was involved, who knew, who didn't know.
Yeah.
I think the level of frustration with the American people specifically is that the government's just going to be like, trust me, the American people are going to forget, we're going to move on. I don't know if this is going to be that, because the next time another pandemic comes up, they're like, I still don't trust you guys got your stuff together. I still don't even know what we're going to be doing. Because typically if you run a business, private corporation, you run it, there's a mistake, what do? We sit there, we go through, we're like, well, okay, great. All right, so what did he do? What did she do? What happened here? Can we see the emails? Can we see the exchange? He didn't do anything wrong. She's right. That one is a little bit strange on when he quit and when he put his letter of resignation in. Let's investigate it. Oh, so he started a business on the side and didn't tell us about it, and that was the one that he was selling us items. Let's investigate him. Have the lawyers go through it. They did. Oh, shit, he's guilty. Okay, great. Well, guess what? In the future, the next time somebody brings new companies for us to use, we have to see who the board of directors of that company is. We have to find that, so this is never going to happen again. All right, this is the new protocol. Let's move forward. That's corporations. That's private corporation. We don't have that there. So for us to, for the people to fully trust, I don't think it's going to happen unless we can, like the word you used, which was the perfect word, have closure. I don't think we've had it yet.
No, not at all. And again, compare the rage of the left when a 25-year-old teacher did not want to get the COVID shot because they were trying to get pregnant with their husband, and they had concerns. They had some questions. And these people insisted they be fired from their jobs. Yeah. Almost 1 million Americans, they had to be fired from their jobs. The rage, the outrage, all fueled by this affirming media. And then a guy was implicated in a bunch of mad scientists brewing up a virus that killed 20 million people, a generation of children now with learning loss. And people say, oh, well, you know what? He tried his best and let's just move on. And what? I mean, we've got to rebuild trust. And I hope everybody watches the film, Thank You, Dr. Fauci. You know, Google suppressed it, so it's hard to find. But it's an incredible independent documentary that goes through what is an overwhelming accumulation of circumstantial evidence.
You know, if they watch it, they're going to come back and say, okay, Doc, what are we going to do about it? Because it's going to go back to, let's do something about it, right? Because that's the closure part.
Yeah.
So I have friends who will say things like this. They're like, man, I have guys here. They'll say, I feel like crap, man. I had to take it because at my job, if I didn't take it, they were going to fire me. And, you know, I feel certain symptoms in my body. And they'll say things like that. If my body's acting different, how do we get to the bottom of people who took it? Is there anything they can do to get any of it out of their system, or no? That's part of the risk you take by taking it.
It was an unexpected finding. They were downplaying it as the vaccine was being rolled out. And look, when it was a good match for the circulating virus at the time, at the end of Operation Warp Speed, when it was produced, it was saving lives. You saw a reduction in the severity of illness right in front of your eyes. But then young, healthy people, it turns out, have essentially no risk of dying of COVID, and nobody was honest enough to admit that. Fauci came from the HIV community where the message was everybody is at risk, right? No one should think they're not at risk of HIV. Everybody is at risk. And it was the same dogma that was put out there. And now we learned the virus particles were showing up in the breast milk of lactating mothers. We hear stories of long-term complications that were attributed to long COVID, and they were not. They were vaccine injuries. We've been looking into some of the vaccine injuries. We found that they were sitting on myocarditis data at the FDA. It was far worse at the CDC. They were designing scientific studies as research propaganda, as political propaganda. The studies were so flawed in their design, it was jerry-rigged to give you a result that the political party literally wanted. At the FDA, they fired the two top vaccine experts because they disagreed on the approval of the COVID booster in young, healthy kids. It got no media attention, but they literally put political interference at its highest peak.
So is there anything people can do to get it out of their system today, or no?
Not that I know of.
Got it. Yeah, because I'll talk to friends and they'll say, I think I have long COVID. And one guy, good friend, he's known in the space. You'll always see he's got COVID, he's got long COVID, he's got long COVID. Is long COVID tied to vaccines, or is long COVID tied to actually getting COVID? Do we know yet?
We don't know. We know that there are complications, long-term complications of the infection, of the COVID infection itself. And there are some people who are vaccine injured. And we all know people. It's not a case report. It's not one or two people in the country. We all know of people. I mean, I know of 3 people, not personally, but through 1 degree of separation, who died from the COVID vaccine.
Okay. Who died from the vaccine?
Yeah. One of them was here in South Florida. Okay. I know of a cardiologist in South Florida here who will tell you he's seen scores of people who have come in with cardiac complications of the vaccine. Scores.
Wow.
But you've not been able to speak up on this. Facebook and the White House were literally censoring true stories of vaccine complications. So these are not ultra rare things that, and look, if somebody was ultra high risk of COVID, maybe it made sense when it was a good match. But now we have natural immunity. We have different circulating strains than were originally circulating. They're less dangerous. And these are nuanced topics. But the way that we kicked out kids from school if they didn't have the COVID shot, the way that we gave people a false sense of protection that if they wore a cloth mask, they could go visit grandma and they didn't have to worry about the cloth mask did nothing. You're breathing right through it, right through the pores of the cloth. And so it was basically a pandemic of lunacy, pandemic of misinformation. And the real information was nuanced and got censored.
When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.